Let's get on to this now. The City of Tshwane's executive team says they are actively working to improve service delivery in the city. They've introduced new refuse fees and they're trying to tackle service delivery challenges. But there are still significant issues to be overcome, including that of hijacked buildings, which have now been turned into informal settlements, shacks in the sky, if you will. Billing remains a challenge. And there are substantial overtime costs being paid by the city to the tune of 600 million rand in the 2023-2024 financial year. Now the city says they've implemented a cap on overtime, but how will this impact services for residents? Eugene Modise is the acting mayor in the city of Tshwane. We understand Dr. Nasipi Moya is overseas and was unable to join us on this discussion. Eugene Modise, welcome to 702 Breakfast. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much and good morning to you and the listeners.
All right, let's start with this whopping 601 million rand paid in overtime for workers in the 2023-2024 financial year. That seems like an extraordinary amount.
It is indeed. And I nearly ran away from the interview when you said the capital city, the problem city. But at any rate, let me give you the background of this 600 million rand. It's coming up as a result of the findings of the AG. And I'm going to cite an incident so that it can make sense to the listeners that we are not paging the employees. One day, an old lady had a problem. She reported a sewer burst in her yard. We deployed our officials immediately to go there and fix it. It was around 2:30 in the afternoon. They arrived there, they viewed the area, and then they stood still in their cars, and then they waited for 4 o'clock. Just immediately after 4 o'clock, they started working, and that it means is overtime. So they've been doing this, and there's a in-depth investigation in all the departments about this 600 million rand.
So they delay finishing jobs so that they can get access to the overtime pay.
Yes.
How widespread is that in the city?
It was the gravity. It was big, but we are managing it now.
No, just give me a sense. Don't just say big. What do you mean? How big was it? How widespread? How many other examples do you have?
It was like a norm. Let me put it in that fashion. Almost 80% of the officials were doing this, and then they were not monitored properly. So you can imagine in 2 years or in a year you reach 600 million rand in terms of overtime. It demonstrates that this is a rot and it's deep.
Goodness me, how are you monitoring them and controlling this overtime expenditure now?
What we have done, we have kept the overtime. There's only a special dispensation for emergency only. And we are monitoring that with human supervisors, managers, regional heads, and we have infused technology as well. There are handheld instruments that they go with to their sites, and it tells us when did you reach the place, what did you do, and in the process we compile a report so that we can be able to juxtapose it with the timing that you are claiming of overtime.
Has the city learned from previous labor disputes and how that has affected the governance of the capital?
We did. We were part of the government, but not in the executive. We were in opposition. And actually, we tried to quell the strike. We spoke to the labor, and then they raised their frustrations. Unfortunately, in the process, there were arrogance from the previous regime. That is why a majority of the people were dismissed, and there were fights, and the strike became horrible. But what we have agreed is that we know we owe the employees increase in the tune of 3.5 and 5.4. But now the matter is sitting in court. As this new government, we have resolved that whatever the outcome of the court, we are not going to contest. We'll explore avenues wherein we can pay our employees here.
So the people that you were finding, I suppose you could even argue, arranging their lifestyles around the guarantee of overtime payment. I mean, that surely is illegal. Has anyone been fired? Have any heads rolled as a result of that scheme?
We have fired a lot since our inception. Unfortunately, even now, some are going to go through the hearings, and in the process,
what's a lot?
Empirical, no, more than 400. We've got compelling evidence that states that Bongani didn't work from this time to this time, but immediately after time off the overtime, he started working, and he prolonged the process unnecessarily or deliberately.
Gosh, the other issue you're dealing with, of course, is that of hijacked buildings in the city where they essentially become informal settlements or shacks in the sky, if you will. How are you dealing with that one?
Yeah, I like your framing of shacks in the sky. No, we have established a committee called the Derelict Building, meaning Bad Buildings Committee. It's led by Alderman Kutsie, Alderman Maduleka, MMC Kulu, who's responsible for property, and MMC Sarah. This is a combination of departments of Metro, Legal, Asset Protection, and Property itself. In the process, they infuse the services of EMS. So we visit we have conducted audit, is big, and there is different categories of buildings. Some are belonging to the department, not necessarily ourselves. They are belonging to Gauteng province. Some are belonging to national departments, and some belong to private people. So we're conducting an audit, and in the process, we have managed to establish the road. Let me give you an example. We got a building in Pretoria West. The building is a high-rise, it's big, and it's accommodating many people. The gentleman is generating more than 600,000 of rent every month, and he's charging electricity. You got prepaid meters, this guy, but he's not paying the city a single cent. So we got a court order now.
Just slow down. How does something like that happen? So how does the electricity operate?
Yes, the theft of electricity is one of the biggest things in the world, not necessarily ourselves.
Yeah.
We are losing almost 24% of electricity each and every month. So what they do, they connive with the officials. They connect the electricity from our lines or our network into the buildings. Now what we have unearthed is this guy is so sophisticated. The line was going beneath the concrete slab. And for us to reach that, we were tipped that, no, you cut this side, you've done nothing. The biggest wire that is transmitting is below this. We broke that concrete. Oh, my God, we got big lines going through to this guy. He's not paying even water, but he got prepaid meters for his tenants.
Goodness
the
me.
building is going to be demolished. We got a court order.
All right, Eugene Modise, appreciate your time, the acting mayor in the city of Tshwane. Just how endemic and pervasive is corruption in South Africa? If you just look at those examples that he's given of what's been unfolding in the nation's capital, and you can be assured what is happening in the city of Tshwane isn't unique. No doubt these kinds of schemes are being copied elsewhere. Workers not doing their jobs just so they can claim overtime. Buildings hijacked, bypassing. He says 24% of the electricity they produce is stolen in this way. And it cannot happen without collusion with officials from inside. How pervasive is corruption, and what does it tell you about who we've become as a nation?
Current events, developing stories,
tough questions.
Your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.